Good evening, good evening. Welcome to the live Facebook, and tonight we bring to you the US market, which actually a lot of people were talking about it. Now we all know right now we are in the midst of a sell-off that we see in the US market, but no doubt, let me bring some joy about where is likely the opportunity are. As we see this market. I know the Russian-Ukraine war still continue. So join me tonight as we explore this market to see what are the new opportunity in the MetaVerse. Now I do hope that you can find time and also share this video in your timeline. And thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for spending your precious time with me tonight. So let's hope you can learn something too. All right, so let's get down to our regular sharing in here. So we're going to be starting very shortly in here as the people is coming in. Now if you do have any questions that you want me to really look into, feel free to put it in there. And if you are not a subscriber of our YouTube website, do subscribe, and also our SMARTRobie apps, and not to forget our ever winning VSA 360 that will put you in an edge for that one. All right, so a lot to be learned tonight in here. So thank you for coming, and let's get started. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another live FB. It's the 27th of April, and of course, no doubt the market is doing very badly with the Russian-Ukraine war, the high inflation, the Twitter, Elon Musk buying, but we do have something which is very positive, not currently right now, but not so far in the real distance. When you look back to this video, if you are coming from the future and you look back at this video, then you may agree some of the things that I talk about here becoming true, because the opportunity is simply there. You just haven't noticed it yet. So I'm going to share with you, don't invest and trade any MetaVerse stock until you know these first. So let's go through some of them in here. Now, of course, a lot of things that we talk about in here is for educational purpose. And don't forget to smash that YouTube subscribe button from our website. Just go to youtube.com and look for Trade VSA and smash that, or you can use the URL link above here. Okay, now the condition that we have, let's take a look at where we are now. I know there's a lot of fear in everybody's mind, just like the chap on your left hand side. With the war going on now, it's not getting any sooner. No doubt earlier on I did make some very bold prediction that by first week of May this thing will be over. In what perspective? Maybe yes, the attack to the central Ukraine, but the south and the east continue on as President Putin continue to make his mark into the Ukraine territory in here. We just don't know when this will end, and the market continue to test lower, something that I did talk about this morning on the morning podcast. So go over to our Trade VSA Telegram, where I do give you my opinion every morning, Wednesday and Friday and Monday morning on the podcast. Now let's take a look what we have in store with you after we've seen the market sell off after February 2022. Right now we are in the month of May, coming a month May, and many of you would know this month of May. Let me just get my laser pointer in here. Is sell in May and go away. You all definitely heard that one before, right? Now no doubt the market has fallen a bit more. Can it still persist on? My take is that the market is very close to the bottom in here. I don't think there's much persistence going forward. No doubt there's a lot of news, but if the Russian-Ukraine war see a bit of leeway, a little bit more of possible of a negotiation or a peace treaty in here, you may see this sell in May and go away, maybe not coming through. So what we have seen before is the continued sell-off that we have from the month of April going in here. So this sell in May and go away, it's something that you will consistently hear if for the month of May going forward, if you still have that kind of sell-off. So beware of what I've just talked about this in here, sell in May and go. And point number two, We have higher inflation rate, which is one of the highest. And also yesterday or just a couple of days ago, the Jerome Powell, US FOMC chairman, did talk about possibly raising a 50 basis point, which we did see why the market decided to, went through the roof only for the financial stock, but not for the technology stock. The technology stock, we all know, as higher interest rate erode the future value of this company. That's why we are seeing a lot of this technology, semiconductor, also including what we'll be talking tonight, the MetaVerse stock, which is another new classification, right, which we're going to be going on in here. And the raising of the interest rate, very, very important. We want to see slowly, maybe every 25 basis point raise for the next 2-3 months, going up to 2.75. That's the target in here. So right now we are just around less than 1. So there's a lot more, at least 7 or 8. And if we can control the inflation, right now, we have seen even Indonesia has banned the export of commodities. So a lot of the prices in oil prices, as crude oil prices, as well as the cooking oil prices, has shot up too. So that is again another driving factor for the higher inflation that we are seeing right now. But the good thing is, many of you just heard the news that starting from 1st of May, at this time of recording in here, Malaysia is lifting a lot of its restriction, including no face mask in the public and the ability to travel. I think that's right? And for that, do take note, next week for the Hari Raya, the live FV will be off for a week. I'll be traveling soon. I'm not going to tell you where but as soon as I come back, I will share some of my story with you where I'm going, definitely flying off, okay? And not to forget, point number 3 is the depreciating ringgit versus Malaysia. Now, you may have read some of the report that we have seen so far in Malaysia that said with the oil prices that we have and the higher export, why is our ringgit depreciating against the US dollar? What's going on? Oil prices is high, why is that? But many don't know. Like it or not, our ringgit is actually correlated and tied to Chinese yuan. Keep in mind, Chinese yuan. If you look back at the history or if you look back at any chart, right, a lot of the time, our correlation of our ringgit have very little impact by crude oil. Every time it tied to the Chinese yuan, is partly because China is one of the top 5 of our biggest partner. So when Chinese yuan move lower or higher, we move against it. Now, this is also due to the Shanghai lockdown that we've seen so far, right? The Shanghai lockdown was experienced in many parts of China in here, including possibly Beijing in here. That's why there was a fear of manufacturing delay, as well as some of the factory being closed. Even Tesla was closed for 4 days, but eventually they did open it up because it's too important for the economy. So you can see that has taken it, and no doubt you all have seen the Hang Seng Stock Exchange has taken a hit, and many of the stocks that we'll be talking again also in MetaVerse is experiencing the same thing too. So that's brilliant. So the question going forward is, do you have the right strategy for this market? Definitely some of you may know the way to play this market is only going long. So are we going to be doing some sort of a bottom fishing or buying a climatic volume in here? Definitely hold on. I will share some of those strategy with you going forward in here. So why now? Why this talk about MetaVerse stock, right? One of them is very popular because it's been going up a trend buzz. Everybody is talking in the MetaVerse stock, especially in the live Facebook. So I also like to give you my opinion about what I think about the MetaVerse stock in here. And some of these I have already spoken early on in some of our live Facebook. So check it out on our YouTube at TradeVSA. YouTube.com, looking at the TradeVSA channel. Definitely one of the MetaVerse stock was brought up was because of Facebook. Right now, early on, some of you already known, I think as early as late last year, Facebook has changed its name to going into the MetaVerse. Now, MetaVerse is not something that is unheard of, but why now? Because they are touting this as the next generation of the internet. After we have the old version, which we call the version 2, this is now version 3 of the internet. Now, first thing we want to think about is why now? So definitely why we are looking at this is first, safety. Okay, now because of the virtual space And during this pandemic that we have, right, many people are so used to confining themselves to Zoom conference, right? But you all know Zoom is that everybody is on a 2D world where you can only see flat out everybody like is looking into a screen. But what people is looking for is a 3D and safety. So think about virtual classes, you're able to talk to them and even party. And also more importantly, because of the pandemic, people are embracing this technology. And more importantly, this also brought out FOMO among the large company. If Facebook is talking about FOMO, right, and there are few more companies in here. We all know what is FOMO, right? Fear of missing out and everybody. And right now, Facebook is the frontier and pioneer champion of the virtual world, as we see in our MetaVerse world in here, by putting about 36.3 million pounds to fund this building of the Meta stock responsibility. Now, if you look into it, other groups are also getting it, especially the entertainment. We all know MetaVerse is more suitable for people who is doing gaming, especially the youngsters in here. So you can see from here is Sony. That's right, Sony. And anyone heard of Kirby? KIRKB. All right. Now, give me a thumbs up for those of you who are listening here to make sure that I'm still getting your attention. Anybody heard of Kirby? KIRKB. Right. Just type it in there. All right. If you know, have you heard of me in there? All right, Kirby. If not, let me tell you where it is also in the entertainment. That's right. Now, remember, entertainment is attempt to groom the young one to the next mature. Now, you're seeing this, right? Just on top of me here. What can you see? Look at that dinosaur, look at that adult. So this is where Kirby, K-I-R-B, is actually the owner of the little block, right? Those are Lego. They are the owner of the Lego. So they are looking in funding this building of this metaverse, because Lego. Now, how many of you have played Lego when you're young? Definitely for me, I have bought a lot of Lego sets for my son and for my daughter. Now they have grown up, but Lego is still in their mind. So what they're trying to do now is to bring Lego into the metaverse. So the children, when we grow a bit older, we always have this reminiscence of the young, and they are doing it right now. So entertainment is definitely big, and Lego, the family in here, is really investing into getting the young one very soon at the Meta stock. Now, if you think what I say is quite true, just type in one. Just type in one there, so I'll make sure you guys are awake, right, and you're following some of my thoughts in here. Okay, just type in one in there. I appreciate that a lot. So they will grow to be a mature target group in here. So why is it important now? Is it merely a marketing gimmick? Okay, now we talked about earlier about being a shared 3D space using VR and also glasses. I'm going to talk about later glasses in here. Then virtual space, big tech is really investing in there, and you have this person who's really obsessed, is no other than Mark Zuckerberg. That's right, he is obsessed, and he's trying to get everybody, including you. Now, depending who you are, I do know most of my audience are in the 45 and above. So metaverse is, you'll be scratching your head how to benefit from here. I'm not going to be interested in metaverse, but think of your children. Think of their children. They will be likely to be obsessed with the metaverse, to be the next social media in here. And all this is because of the connectivity of internet being the enabler, connecting billions of people, which is we already have, right? Close to about 8 billion people. Now, almost 90% of them, one way or another, are connected through the mobile phones or to their desktops, to the internet. And that's what they're trying to capture. Now, a taste of what metaverse is, if you have a chance, go and watch this movie, Ready Player One. How many of you have watched that show? If you have watched that show, type 2. Okay, Ready Player One is a 2008 movie directed by my favorite director, Steven Spielberg. Right, you all still remember Steven Spielberg, right? He's from the days of Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, this is the guy who brought, and he's the first to venture into opportunities, knowing Steven Spielberg, a creative director, together with George Lucas, created the earlier of I think Star Wars and Jaws 2, right? Steven Spielberg in there. And what's the movie is all about in 2018? It's about the avatar and gaming, about you putting on the headset and having a new pseudo avatar, which means you're having a new identity. You could be a robot, you could be a machine, you could be an animal, you could be a cartoon character in there, and eventually it all boils back to good versus evil, right? That's why it make it a very interesting show. So in the world of MetaVerse, is there good versus evil? What do you think? Think about that, right? So that movie give you a glimpse of what's actually happening here. Even some of the characters in there are supposed to be very, very young, but in the world of MetaVerse, you cannot really differentiate that. Different sizes in here. Catch it out. Watch it over on the Netflix. Previously, I think I watched it on the Netflix in there. It's the good movie by Steven Spielberg on Ready Player One. Now, because of that MetaVerse, not only in the gaming, but on the education, right, as well as businesses, connectivity, and also what we call virtual medicine. Virtual medicine, where you've seen, one of the very good movies, I think, was by Tom Cruise, where he bring up a console in here, able to control that. Something like that you see in Minority Report. That's right. That's one of those movies. So right now, MetaVerse, it's simply to be possible right now, where we can put on the headset and you have this what we call augmented reality. Remember Pokemon, the game on your handphone, where everybody was like in a specific park, and sometimes I was wondering, why are they in the park, they're playing game, all looking for the Pokemon on collecting the coins. So when you have your handphone, you point to a certain direction or certain image, you can see the Pokemon come out. That's what they're trying to do. But rather than a phone, you put on the headset, it's totally with you. And my son did show me the augmented reality about having a MacBook in front of your desktop, and even IKEA, right? Just imagine you in your own room, you want to have a certain size of furniture, you do not know how it looks. So you put on your headset or you use your handphone, you're able to see that furniture that you're going to be purchasing right in your room or in your favorite lounge. That's what we are talking about. So that will create a lot of sense of sales. That's where we are leading into right now. So where is the money? All right. So MetaVerse, we're going to have to consider it from a business perspective. Gaming is definitely a lot. So I'm not going to cover that much on gaming. I'm going to cover more on the business industrial side. It does open a lot of what we call a virtual showroom, concrete, co-create and test product virtually, which has never been. You could see the past picture that we have in here. Different collaborators from different countries were able to test it in here, and also supporting a virtual economy. Virtual economy, we are talking about virtual money, is it? What is virtual money? You remember? Yes, it's Bitcoin. That's where it is. So Bitcoin is one of the enabler to power the MetaVerse, and Bitcoin is not going to go away. So can you see some familiar logo up here? Definitely Tencent, Google, we got Autodesk, we got Condense, we got MetaVerse, we got NVIDIA, right? We got Pandora Bots, we got OpenAI. So some of these are very, very common. You may not have heard it before. As we progress forward and forward, right? Tonight we're going to talk about some stocks that everybody is very familiar with. That's what the whole purpose is. But going forward, some of these names that you never heard of is what I call sumo, S-U-M-U, will eventually get bigger. But of course, 90% of some of these stocks will also perish and disappear, because this is a fight for survival, and it's really a law of evolution that we see in any landscape, and also we were seeing on the MetaVerse. All right, now if you have any question in here, do pencil in there, as I'll be looking into it and really try to structure the whole presentation so you will understand MetaVerse much easier. Now, why is this important? Because it definitely opened a new market opportunity, right? What we call about the blue ocean. Really, if you look very deeply, MetaVerse stocks are not targeting you. If you're in the 45 or 55, they are targeting your children, your grandchildren. That's right. That's where they are targeting in here, where you have healthcare, education, creator economics, virtual advertising. Remember, right? Used to be, we were used to see advertisement on newspaper. Nowadays, you don't write. You go to your favorite Malaysia Kini, or you go to your Malay Mail. All those advertisement will pop up. Even my YouTube that I watch a lot, you'll see a lot of commercial. Even the other day, I saw TV3 put out an advertisement. You have to skip the advertisement. if you don't skip the advertisement, right? Normally when you don't skip it, it's only 5 seconds. This one will play 1 hour of their what we call a singing entertainment program, right? That's what they are trying to do. Even TV3 is advertising on YouTube for 1 hour, play the entire Sandiwara of the show in here. So you can see how serious that the virtual space in the internet has taken up over traditional media, which you remember TV3 has their own audience, but guess what? Only the older audience are watching TV3. Now, how many of you are still watching TV3? If you're watching TV3, just type TV3. I doubt it you're watching TV3, right? You'll be watching Netflix. Some of you will be on Astro. Some of you will be on other streaming services like Max HBO or the free YouTube in here. Definitely YouTube is getting really, very big, and this is going to be powering a lot of the metaverse. So if you look at this, definitely, just now I brought up this Lego in here, where even Kirby, the owner of Lego, knows that opportunity. Remember, when the young one, they feel the physical block, they make all the block, but once they put on to the virtual wall, the virtual world, right, the headset, right, then they can play with the old Lego in here. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Tan also said that no more watching movie. That's right. You'll be on the metaverse where you are the movie character itself. So if you look back at the number of IoT, now IoT in here stand for, okay, IoT stand for, let me just go back again. So IoT stand for Internet of Things. So in the Internet of Things, the connection, it's expected to reach 30 billion by 2021. Right now, it's 11. The last estimated figure that they have for 2020 is 11.3 billion. Now, bear in mind, we only have 8 billion. Why all of a sudden we get 11.3 billion? Because these are internet devices. Even your refrigerator, if you have internet connection, Bluetooth is considered an IoT, right? In many ways, also your speaker is also IoT. Like if you have a Google Home or the Amazon Alexa, those are considered as IoT, Internet of Things. Even your switches, eventually your fridge will tell you run out of juice. You have to buy some juice. They'll send you an SMS or WhatsApp to you. That's what we talk about IoT. And that's going to be bigger. That really seems to be connecting, giving you a link into the metaverse. Of course, metaverse is about the virtual, the sensation, the experience that we'll be sharing in here. So latest news, you all know about Elon Musk buying Twitter, right? Of course, you all hear the official figures about democracy and about free speech. But what I really think is Elon Musk is very obsessed in many ways about his tweeting and the digital cryptocurrency. So right now you could see even on the post going back to 2020, 2020, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, he make a lot of tweets, and some of those tweets actually make and cause the cryptocurrency to really move up or down depending what he's writing. Now you all remember Jack Ma also, right? Now Jack Ma, like it or not, was very, very powerful. I think about 2018, 2019, right? And he goes on from conference to conference, giving his perspective about business, how things are done. But eventually what happened? President Xi came in, right, and totally shut him off. Because Jack Ma knew he can be very, very powerful when e-commerce got so much influence to a lot of people because of the pandemic. We were all cooped up. We have to stay in the house and we shop a lot in here. So Elon Musk also understand that. But with Elon Musk staying and living in the United States, the government, of course, I do believe, will not come in and shut him down, unlike the presidency with the technology regulatory crackdown on all, including TikTok, Meituan, some of the online tuition center that we heard about. The whole landscape, Tencent, all been taking a hit, but very unlikely because they have the US First Amendment that you can talk about free speech, okay, in US. So this is where Elon Musk will rejuvenate this free speech in here. And with the Twitter being bought over by him, now he's a CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and Twitter. Of course, tonight you will see some sell-off on his Tesla shares because he has to pay 44 billion for that. But I think it's somehow got a link to the cryptocurrency, which is kind of very obsessed to it, that he can tweet. No one can kick him out because he's the boss, finally, of Twitter. That's the reason why I think then you will have control of money and control of your opinion, all right, in what we call the virtual town hall in here. That's my reason in here. Now, if you look at the one of the key enablers, I was talking about Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin runs on blockchain. Now, just a very interesting in here, you all heard about blockchain. I'm not going to go further than that. Other than that, blockchain is enabler. So when you go to the MetaVerse space, right, you need to have currency. If you have to happen to enter a physical shop, a virtual shop, and you want to buy something, it's what they call NFT, non-fungible token, right? So that is something that we need to be verified to make sure that you can't duplicate it. So this is where NFT and we are running on blockchain technology. So there are many of this technology which I'm not an expert, I'm not going to, but I just want to draw your attention to what we call the virtual real estate, the branding in here. Now Gucci and Christian Dior, okay, start using blockchain technology. Even Coca-Cola too. Coca-Cola is going into, they're buying out all this brand name. Just like remember last time, what we call this internet domain name. At one point, right, you can buy McDonald in Malaysia, mcdonald.com.my, right? What we call a digital squatter lah. So what they're doing is trying to come up with some sort of rule that if you want to have this kind of brand name, you must willing to pay for. So a lot of these are very branded name. They have gone in already and occupied what we call the internet space. So you can see here Chanel, the Chanel.eth, the virtual space, right? Blockchain to create what we call environment in here. So they are launching all this, and some of them are up to about $900,000 in here. So this is really a big money in here. But of course, it has its merit. The bigger one who is big funded are already in here. For most of us, you and me, by the time we ever get to MetaVerse, right, everything will be fully occupied. But this is the first mover advantage, and that's somewhere in many ways we must know this in our fact before we consider buying or trading the MetaVerse stock. Now going forward, the mainstream adoption, just like electric vehicle, is very slowly. Now we see from this chart that we have here, okay, usually we have this innovation trigger, which is what we are right now. But just like the version 2 of the internet technology, where our console, okay, our PC, that's the one you'll be watching in your desktop, or you're watching this video on your mobile phone, the productivity is just about that because this is a version 2. But what they are saying with version 3, they call it the Web 3 technology, with the virtual reality, the one that you wear on top of your head, and the augmented reality with your virtual glasses that you wear, and also BCI, which is the connectivity. Elon Musk tried to connect himself to the internet, and that seems to have more productivity in really what we call a trial of disillusionment. Means you cannot really separate the virtual from the physical world, and that's what we are talking about in here. Able to extend on that. Now if you think of it, how fast will people adopt to it? Now you may think about it right now, metaverse is definitely not me. Maybe it's just a marketing gimmick only. Now remember EV too. EV started in Singapore 2011. At that time, 2000, they were having about 12 cars. Those are prototype. But right now, they are going into almost 600,000 cars. In Singapore, just an example using our neighbor. Our Malaysian adoption are still slower. The only recent good one was I think the Tesla car they're going to be bringing in Malaysia through a grey market in here. I did check out a bit in there, but there is still a lot of issue in Malaysia got to do with the charging station. There's not enough charging station, but Singapore being smaller, it's easier to study that. But you can see the government support for electric vehicle is there, and they're encouraging more people to adopt it. So right now you will see the Web3 technology like virtual reality goggle set and the augmented reality glasses are not available yet. Just like 5-6 years ago, EV, people say crazy, where can people use EV? But right now you have seen the oil prices due to the Russian and Ukraine war, more and more people are looking for electric vehicle. In Malaysia, we don't feel a pinch. And why is that? Anyone want to care to answer? Yes, it's because we all have petrol subsidized, right? Our RON 95 is still subsidized. So next week, for those of you who are traveling overseas, when you fly to that country and if you have a rental car, you pump the petrol, you will know what we are paying in Malaysia is only 1/3. When you are there, at least you're paying 5 ringgit for 1 liter. I know when I was in Europe traveling, right? And I pumped the petrol, I think I was in Norway, around $7. I said, wow, when I come to Malaysia, I will never complain. 7 ringgit for 1 liter. Yes, while we're only paying about 2.22, I think about $2 in here. Of course, if you use the RON 97, then there's no subsidy for that. You will pay full price in here. So adoption, just like for MetaVerse, if you remember, for EV will be very, very slowly, but not until we get some sort of government support in here, education or whatever the case is, then we'll get the adoption faster. Now, what can you see here? Can someone share with me? Just type inside there, what do you see here in this picture? Anyone? I'm sure you all know, right? It is the new Apple glasses. That's right, the Apple glasses, it's coming out. Now, the Apple glasses, it's another new exciting product. Just like when Apple came out with their smartphone, they're not the first, remember? Google glasses came out first. But what Apple did was the innovation that they did, right? Innovation for they did. So you can see right now the phone that I have here, right? They were not the first, but they managed to innovate and they brought a big chunk of the public to join. Now, in many ways, I think Apple glasses will be the same. So why is this important here is because Apple is releasing its Apple glasses late 2022, end of this year, or early 2023. How much? Estimated is above $1,000 US. Of course, when it first started off, it's not going to be cheap, right? But with that Apple augmented reality glasses, you can practically shop in Walmart using your virtual Apple glasses or your virtual Google headsets in here. And that's where we are leading in here. So once you have this enabling technology in here, and Walmart has already got into the metaverse, right? So you can see here, it's pretty much what you see in that movie, which we talk about Player One Ready in here. So, but if you are one of those traditional people who like to go out and shop, and I think I am, including yourself too, but again, a lot of this technology is not targeting you. They're targeting your children, because they are so used to their augmented reality. And during the last 2 years, you all remember, right, with the confined space that they have, all they have is virtual classes. I know my son been going up to virtual classes. My daughter also started. Then there was some outbreak of COVID in the school, and now she's back to virtual classes. So these things, again, many of the younger generation will be used to it. Basically buying things over, like what you see here, is normal, okay, using a virtual glasses. Of course, the access is very bad. Now let's show you the money. Okay, what are the stocks we're talking? Now this is from Rakuten Research in here. Some of the stocks I think many of you know will definitely be Microsoft, Roblox, okay, and Meta platform. So you can take a picture of this one, or you can watch back this video in future. If you're coming back and watch this, take a look at the prices that we are talking now and the prices when you're watching in here. Hopefully, I believe it should be higher in here. So for software and content, we have ATVI, which is going to be bought over by Microsoft. Walt Disney is going to be big inside there for the entertainment. Remember, big part, I would say 60% of them are entertainment. Autodesk, 3D rendering in here. Snap, then of the semiconductors, like NVIDIA making the GPU, which is a faster version of the CPU that you use, because in the world of virtual reality, a lot of rendering of the graphics 3D, right? AMD also same thing. Applied Magnetics, Qualcomm's making of the Snapdragon chip and MU technology. Of course, my favorite will be still Apple, and that's why we talk about Apple glasses in here. We haven't talked about Apple car yet. So this is a part where you show you the money. Then you move on to the more traditional consumer one, the non-technology one. So those of you who want a little bit of exposure, then you can go on to the consumer good, where Nike, right, are already in here. They're partnering with Roblox to launch Nike Land, right? So Roblox is basically, it's like a version of Minecraft, which have their own space. I think if you all remember this, there's another game, SimCity. Very similar to that. Okay, SimCity was a game that I played many years ago, where you have virtual life inside there. So it's very similar in that manner. So you can see from here the older companies, like Nike, Coca-Cola, Walmart, and Gap, they are already into the metaverse. So let's take a look at some of these stock where they are right now. So you can see, let's take a look at the first stock that we have in here. Again, this is one of our famous Trade VSA plugin. For those of you who are members, you have already seen this with the what we call the peak to valley. So you can see the last round where the market fell about 19%, 12% in here, and then right now about 18%, it actually rebounded. Right now, it is coming down here, retesting another new low here. Whether you will hit back this 140 something that was during the war are yet to be seen, but it has pulled back after more 4 down bar. You can see here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, which means this is a weekly bar already 4 weeks in a row down since it hit almost a short of $180. And you notice every time when you hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 bars, opportunity comes, pull back. Those of you who do not have Apple, this is actually a good timing. Or if you want to, let me give you a clue. You can see here, let me just switch to my pen here. We're going to talk a bit about chart here. Is to buy when the market start here, turning into here. You see this now is going in a downtrend. You wait for it to move up to here. That will be a good opportunity. So watch for that one. This is the market stages indicator. Wait for it, and also you can wait for the daily Pentagon for Apple. Okay, this is a Apple share. All right, let's move on to the next stock. So the next stock in here is the traditional consumer stock, okay, which is KO. Now, with the exception of the COVID, okay, in 2020, KO actually fell a lot more. But right now, you can see it's been moving up very steady. And this one pays almost a 5% dividend. Check out on SMARTRobie, okay, on the US S&P 500. You can see this is definitely one of the stocks you should have. They pay good dividend and a rejuvenation into the metaverse. KO, remember, total knockout. No, it's Coca-Cola, right? Because what they're trying to do is trying to bring in the old traditional name of Coca-Cola into the metaverse. All right, just do that. And the biggest comeback we're talking about in here is Facebook. Old name, new name is Meta. Okay, you can see this sell-off in here, almost 53%. One of the worst sell-off. The last time it was worth about 244, broke through that. Now it's about 180, right just at the COVID time. See that? This is the COVID-19 low here. So we are very close to the low already. Last round was 38%. Now it's about 53%. But if it plays its card well, all right, and the Twitter, Elon Musk buying is, to me, is a catalyst. Now, why I see that, if we see Twitter turning into a more free speech, then likely Facebook may follow Twitter. Because right now, Twitter and Facebook are pretty much controlled by the Democrats, and they are into a lot of the liberal movement, meaning those conservatives don't like it, and that's why a lot of the conservative opinion was shut off. You all know about the COVID-19 misinformation in Facebook and also in Twitter. They were very strict about it. But with Elon Musk coming in, they may be a catalyst. So this catalyst, what we're seeing right now here, is probably at the bottom. And Elon Musk play its card right on Twitter. Many of the big media will see that way too. So keep in mind. All right, so this is definitely right now, you can see forming a double bottom. You can see here, right, a nice double bottom in here, and I do think possibility we are right at the bottom in here going further. We did have the war. Of course, the war came here. This is the part where they miss some subscriber and also miss the advertisement, and also the latest report from Google also said that they are miss some earnings in here, short one in here, but in the longer term shouldn't be a problem, still in the uptrend. Now, of course, all our Trade VSA chart is possible for those of you who have our Trade VSA combo or Trade VSA plugin. You are able to access all those in here. All right. So with the low price of 2 ringgit per market per day, definitely with the Pentagon Guider and market stages that I talk about in here will give you the first mover advantage for these MetaVerse stocks. Okay. Now, let's talk about other MetaVerse stocks in China, Singapore, and South Korea. You can see here the usual name, one of the biggest caps sorted by here is Tencent, Alibaba, and C. C has fallen a lot, same thing as Grab too. The other markets, I'm not going to comment it. So let's take a look at Tencent. Many of you know it's really close to the bottom fishing in here. Again, if you look back at here, when the market start moving into gray, right here, so we need to wait for this to move up here. So eventually once they move up here, this will be, ladies and gentlemen, the right time. So we want to use this as one of the way of one of the criteria for bottom fishing. Now in our masterclass that we'll be doing in the coming May session, we're going to get down to more details. So today we use market stages to share with you. Can you imagine we give you those full sets of the rule, the other criteria you can pad your chance of making money. And right now you can see for Tencent, for Alibaba, okay, Baba, this will be a 9988, okay. You can see it has fallen to 77%. At one point you could see here there's a possibility from $84 going back to 160. That is already 100% move. Of course, right now very difficult because you have the Shanghai lockdown, okay, and possibility Beijing, right? Because the Chaoyang side, the Chaoyang province is also locked down. So this one is not going to spring back up a bit. But again, we are looking at the weekly basis. So this big drop of this 77% in here does give a very good opportunity for bottom fishing. And let me give you another criteria. All right. Now give me another thumbs up. So I'll give you the second criteria of a bottom fishing. All right, give me a thumbs up in here and do share this. I'll give you another one. We are looking for a double bottom here. So you see the first one, second one, we need to see the respective market stages to move up. And if that's the case, that is a likely market bottom. And also you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 consecutive down bar already, right? So those are my second criteria in here, being very generous for you, sharing with you some of the tips that we usually teach from our masterclass. So consider our masterclass, and for our members, do come back and re-attend. We have a new syllabus with also a new coach, trainer, and also speaker with us in here. All right, y'all know we're going to go into that. All right, then the next one is Tencent. That's right, Tencent. All right, Tencent. So let's take a look at that. Tencent again, traditionally in the past, right, it's gone up to this was January. Okay. This was before the start of the crackdown, okay, the technology crackdown, Beijing, okay. And you can see this market in here broke below here, almost down to 61%, retesting again, haven't formed a double bottom yet, so you have to wait, okay. We can wait for it, and again, going back to here, you can see this is what we are looking for, okay. Once we have this on the positive side, the market stages, right, this is where the market start to move up, but right now, not yet. So I encourage for you to continue your subscription or check out our market stages. Short name we use MS in here. One of our very interesting analytics tools that will put money to your side. Now, of course, for those of you who don't want to choose stocks, then you can go on to the ETF. Now, what is ETF? I think I covered this before. ETF stands for exchange traded funds, where it is a compromise of many stocks. Remember, I talk about like a soccer team. So when you buy a certain stock like Alibaba or Tencent, you're buying the top players. And if your top player right now like Alibaba and Tencent don't perform, it's like your Leonardo don't perform, teruk lah. But when you buy ETF, that is probably lack of probably don't have that kind of risk that we normally see, because when you buy an ETF, it's like you're buying the whole football team or the team itself. Maybe one or two players don't perform, which is like your Ronaldo, but the whole team still perform, it doesn't fall that much. So it prevents a disastrous sell down that we see in here and tend to average down in here. So you can see in here, there are three, right now. The other two MTVR are new. Okay, this is also new, only started only, but you can see in here the big AUM account under management is this one, METU. Used to be called Meta, but what happens was Facebook decided to took the Meta away from these guys, and now they changed their name to METV, right? Because Facebook got more money, so they can take the Meta ticker from this original Meta, but they've been rebranded to METV. All right. PE is about 42 times. This is 28 times, and they do pay a 0.5% dividend yield. This one doesn't pay. Right. So let's take a look at what are the composition that we have here. Now, in the first one is Font MetaVerse. This is what is the code for this one? Is MT. This one is MTVR. Okay, so this one, so ever since it's open, the market been coming down only. Right, this was in November. A lot of them launched. So when Facebook talked about it, it was also in November. So we are already almost coming to 6 months, right? Because of the rising interest rate we are talking about in here. A lot of technology stock has a lot of market cap in here. So what are the big companies in here? This is definitely Apple has the biggest composition in here, right? Then you got Google, Facebook, you got Oriental Land, which I don't have much research on. Kako is a Korean one. And then Walt Disney, Nexon, and Konami. These are the Japanese gaming one. Okay. Again, similar one. The November decided to make a move and then finally fell off. This was the one that listed earlier in July. You can see what they are. This is more focused on the purely US market. Right. All things being the same, I prefer MetaVerse. METR. Okay, so make sure you know this code. And what are the stocks in here? You got Nvidia, Roblox, that's the one that has the digital virtual real estate, Facebook, Unity, Gaming, Microsoft, Snap, C, Amazon, Apple, and Autodesk. So those are one of the biggest holding, and these are what I call household name. All right. Now, if you like what you watched tonight, give me another thumbs up. So I want to make sure we get to the end of this talk in here. Of course, let's talk about the risks so far. All right. Now, of course, there are many risks. Definitely one of them is security. Previously, you already heard before some of the Bitcoin digital money or digital token could be stolen away, right? It's not so much stolen away. There were some hackers in here, and there were probably leak of patch hole in some of the securities, and that led to a lot of some of the money being stolen. So definitely in the metaverse, because we are operating in the digital world in here, there will be cyber attack. How do you prevent that? So again, those stocks are what we call the cyber security stocks. Cyber security stocks is another segment that you want to look at. All right, security limitation in here. What are the technology integration model? We haven't even talked about that yet. There's still a lot of risk in here, right? Digital tampering and privacy law, infrastructure. Who is maintaining the highway in there? Right now, we only have one company, which is Facebook is leading the way. Of course, there are smaller and smaller other companies. The big tech are also coming, like what we talk about, Disney and also Gucci and Christian Dior, making a digital branding space in here. So definitely something that all our listeners must also be aware is valuation, right? Especially previously, NFT was very big. Non-fungible token. They talk about the first tweet. The most interesting story I'm going to share with you is the first tweet by Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter. He tweeted, "Just setting up my Twitter, TEW." And this person, his name is Mr. Estavi. I do not know where is he from, to be frank with you, but apparently he's a CEO of Malaysian-based Bridge Oracle. He bought the world first tweet and he paid 2.9 million. I know I'm blocking in here, you cannot see, but I think last week or a week ago, he put it up for auction, and the highest bid he got, let me just move it up a bit here. Okay, You can see here, right? I'm going to circle it. It's 277 US dollar. He paid 2.9 million. I know some of you may have heard this story already. So you're saying, what's happening in there? I paid, just like you bought a painting. I bought a Mona Lisa for 2.9 million. And I tried to resell it again. Only highest bidder is 277. What has gone wrong? So far, no one has the answer yet. Again, it's all about valuation because Bitcoin right now are not at the highest level it is. My take, if you do ask me about Bitcoin, is that it overpromise but under-deliver the results. Don't you think so? Right? For much of its promises, what it can do, we have seen during this Russian and Ukraine war, it failed to hold its what we call a hedge, just like what we've seen in gold, because Bitcoin was seen to be a digital gold, where during wartime and uncertainty, we will see more stabilization in the cryptocurrency, but we did not. Instead, we saw it gravitate and swing pretty much like a technology stocks in here. So something that our reader need to be aware of. Okay, so MetaVerse, we are coming to almost the end of our talk. MetaVerse has a lot of challenges ahead, right? There's a lot of work to do. It'll be decades before MetaStock become all-rounder virtual collaboration. Will be at least just like what we saw for the electric vehicle, the adoption. So far in Malaysia, how many electric cars have you seen? Singapore is moving much faster. If Singapore don't move, Malaysia not going to move. So very similar with the MetaVerse in here. Now, the only positive things to share with you is that Oculus headset has sold about 8 million so far. I think many of them in US, and they have only 500 apps for 3D. Now compared to the mobile phone user, 7.2 billion. All right. So that's why I like Apple glasses. I want to see how Apple glasses will sell, right, and how well they do. Definitely for those of you, my advice, have some exposure to Apple. All right. And now we're coming to it. So don't invest and trade in MetaStock until, let's give you a summary first. No doubt what we've seen right now, MetaVerse is in crisis. But going forward, what are the demographic we talk about? It is for your children, where for them, it's an area of virtual e-commerce, virtual collaboration, virtual meetup, virtual gaming. It is an opportunity in the future, no doubt about it. So next, you want to prepare a list of your favorite MetaStock theme or some exposure, which I've talked about in here. Third, knowing the right strategy. We have seen before, the Chinese MetaVerse exposure are right at the bottom. Even we've seen Facebook shares, and they're giving you those signs of bottoming down. But you still need for that right indicator and those bottom fishing methods, something that we talk about in length in masterclass. Right, and always have an exit strategy, because there's always risk, as I talk about in here. We do not know the infrastructure in here, just like how EV started, right? Eventually EV is fully adopted. By the time when you buy it, will be probably late. Right now, maybe it's good to have a little bit of exposure, but more importantly, you cannot ignore Meta. So right now, you already have some of those information here. So what's more important right now is to sharpen the store. Read more about it, educate, and learn this new skill, right? Of course, don't forget, during this COVID time, if we have the Hari Raya break, I'd like to wish all my Muslim friend and Malay friend next week, Selamat Hari Raya, all right? Or they call it Eid Murabat. Okay, sorry if I pronounce that wrong. I'd like to wish all of you Selamat Hari Raya Adil Fitri in here, and enjoy your holiday in here. So keep the relationship good with your family members. Wish them well. If you're going back to your kampong area, also do drive care. But more importantly, continue to get education in here. For our paid members, that's why we always emphasize again in all our paid program for our members in here. We want to help you and guide you to a new opportunity. And on Friday, which is this Friday, we are doing orientation training for all our paid members. If you're not a member yet, you might want to consider being our member in here. And we'll be talking how to look for high success rate of winning with our screener. How to find stocks before smart money begin marking higher. That will be done by me in here. Now it's like playing against this goalkeeper. You can see the goalkeeper is how to jaga goal when blindfolded. Show muscle lah. That's what we are trying with. We are trying to teach you how to score a goal through a blindfolded goalkeeper, right? No doubt sometimes the goalkeeper may be lucky and stop the ball. Yep, you have a bad trade. But guess what? If you know that technique, the right screener will be sharing with you, you will have a success rate. So join us on our Friday night for orientation. We start at 8 o'clock. Again, one of our benefits being our member in here. And in our March, May intake, we have our 3-day course, which actually a 2 full day course. We have changed the format already. So we have it on the 2 full day course on the 20 to 22nd. Then on the 23rd for 12 noon, we have our CPO and future session in here. Then we have the US market on the 25th, right? And then we have a pullback live trade on 1st of June. And also Dr. Gary, it's a special bonus, which is being mentally blind. Okay, being mentally blind in the sense that blind spot. We want to teach you how thinking error and how to correct them. So this is our masterclass, 5 into 1 for one price only. Okay, so check it out in here, Dr. Gary. We have a special sign up price, 4,888. If you sign up before 1st of May, you have only 3 more days. Remember, for this special price, a world-renowned psychologist, access to him, plus what we just shared with you info, right, to trade over. And of course, not to forget our plug-in. If you're not interested in our combo, for our plug-in in here, where we give a lot of our training in here, many benefits you can see in here before, and for low price of 2 ringgit per market per day. And this is one of the comments of one of the user in here. He said that he can't believe how easy to trade the Malaysian market, right? Just when we talk about scoring a goal against a blindfolded goalkeeper in here. And that's what we pretty much when we want to say in here, right? Able to win consistently despite what we have seen the market sell off in here. We were able to find you some great stock, and let me prove it to you through our program in here, right? So don't forget to join our Telegram chat room for all our stock market information in here. Thank you, Nora. It Murabak, that's right. Okay, and do share this QR code in your timeline and any of your friends, so they will benefit from our VSA trading idea in here. So we have come to the end of it. If you have any question, do pencil those in here. If not, I thank you for your time and your presence. And remember, those stocks that we talk about in the MetaVerse stock, you will have a list of them, right? Check it out. If not, re-watch this video again. I will see you after Hari Raya, and all the best, but not on Friday morning. I'll be here Friday morning for the last breakfast show before we go forward, and also on Friday night for orientation in here. With that, I thank you for coming, and thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. Bye-bye.